again, Sussex lies exposed. The bitter war between Harry and Meghan and the rich and powerful Kardashian family has worsened dramatically, with news that the Kardashians' public relations team have angrily denied that there was a consent form for photographs to be taken at the 70th birthday party for Kardashians matriarch Kris Jenner. Now, the ruthless Sussex public relations machine, they're not happy. They've been peddling the line that the couple ticked no on a permission box for parties to be taken at the venue, which was, of course, the Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' $165 million Beverly Hills mansion. So the Sussexes claim that on the invitation for the party, there was a form and it said, "Are you okay with photos taken at the venue?" Sounds fair enough. Well, I'm afraid not, because the Kardashians, who are world famous and are worth billions and understand social media, well, they've decided to squash the Sussexes like an ant. They have taken them down and taken them down to Chinatown, slamming the idea that any such consent form existed. They insist that there is no consent form and that the Sussexes are not telling the truth. There's a surprise. So insiders close to the Kardashians family have said it's just not true. And the whole clan have united in fury against Harry and Meghan. The Sussexes have crossed a line, is what they're saying, and that they'll not be welcomed back into the Kardashian fold. Well, this is very typical of Harry and Meghan, and I believe at the heart of this is Meghan herself, who is, in my view, a pathological narcissist, but she's also pathologically dishonest. Let's not forget the Oprah interview in which she claimed that they'd had a special garden marriage ceremony 3 days before their wedding. 3 days before their wedding. A flat lie denied by none other than the Archbishop of Canterbury. Imagine being corrected by the head of the Church of England. So embarrassing. Of course, that was the same Oprah interview in which they peddled lies about an unnamed member of the royal family, potentially Princess Catherine, being the royal RACIST, a flat lie and a profound defamation. Thomas Markle has denied Meghan's lies for years and years and years. Thomas Markle Sr., this is her father, and he said that they didn't have a poor background. She didn't suffer prejudice for a single moment of her childhood. She never mentioned RACE until it was fashionable later in her career. And also, he's debunked the myth that she was behind a campaign against Procter & Gamble for stereotyping women and girls in a detergent advert. Meghan's narrative is, I was a little girl and I thought it was kind of a little bit sexist that women were doing the washing up, so I wrote to Procter & Gamble and I changed the world. You're welcome. Not true. It's just complete nonsense. Piers Morgan called out Meghan Markle as a liar the day after the traitorous Oprah interview. What happened? She went after him. She wrote to the boss of ITV, which was the TV network that employed Piers Morgan. He was fired within days because Meghan not just lies, she protects her lies. And let's not forget the most significant person who called out Harry and Meghan's lies, which I believe the root of which are Meghan, because she's pathologically dishonest. The one person, the most senior figure who called it out, who said it as it was Queen Elizabeth II, one of the greatest Britons ever to live. This is a woman whose first prime minister as queen was Winston Churchill, no less, right? A woman of incredible integrity, experience, dignity, pride, a beautiful woman. I loved Queen Elizabeth. Anyway, she issues a statement after the traitorous Oprah interview, and she simply said, "Recollections may vary." Now, that is the most elegant use of language I can think of. I'm not sure that Oscar Wilde, James Joyce, or William Shakespeare could conceive a set of words as elegant, as powerful, as devastating as recollections may vary. And the Queen is, of course, quite right about that. So she called out the awful, traitorous Oprah interview. Recollections may vary. Let me tell you what that means. Let me translate that from Queen language into the real world. Recollections may vary. One takes the view that the information shared on this television transmission was erroneous, slanderous, dishonest, and wrong. So Meghan was called out by the greatest royal ever. Also, there was this idea back in the day that Archie was denied a prince title and security because of the colour of his skin and his background, his ethnicity. Completely false on every level. Automatic prince titles only kick in for grandchildren of the monarch in the male line based upon a rule from 1917. It literally is the law. Charles wasn't king at that point, so no title, no prince, no prejudice. Security was removed because they quit royal duties and moved abroad. Standard protocol. What about the lie when Meghan said, I didn't Google Harry. I didn't really know who he was, and I wasn't sure what royal family actually meant. I thought royal family was a chain of restaurants in England, is actually what I thought. I thought they did burgers and pizzas at Royal Family and excellent coleslaw. Their slaw is world famous, royal family slaw, and you got to get ribs. The royal family ribs are just a bit, but you got to book because the royal family restaurant chain is very popular. You got to book. You got to book. You got to book. You got to book. So, the idea that she didn't know who the royal family were, that she didn't Google Harry and claimed total ignorance. In reality, she blogged about Princess Catherine's wedding, was friends with Princess Eugenie, pre-Harry, Eugenie, and friends say that she was obsessed with Diana. She absolutely researched the family. She absolutely knew who Harry was. Not just that, she went after him like an Exocet missile, and she got what she wanted. How about this lie from Meghan Markle? I grew up an only child. I hadn't seen my half-sister in 20 years. 20 years, I didn't see her in 20 years. Well, not true. A 2008 photo shows her arm in arm with lovely Samantha at her college graduation. Samantha only changed her surname back to Markle years after Meghan met Harry, not for fame, as Meghan implied, another lie. What about they took my passports when I was serving royal and I was in the royal family, which I thought was a restaurant chain that had really clean bathrooms. They took my passport, my keys, and my freedom. They took my passport, my keys, and my freedom. Well, in the 18 months after Archie's birth, she flew to New York for the baby shower, very environmentally friendly. Ibiza, private jet holiday, you're welcome. Italy, France, the US Open, Canada, at least 13 trips. The passport was not in the possession of the palace authorities. It was in her little handbag. What about the bridesmaid dress row? Kate made me cry. Now, the original 2018 leak, widely believed to be from Meghan's people, said that Meghan reduced Catherine, to tears, but she claimed that Kate bought flowers to apologise. Meghan flipped the entire story and claimed that actually, no, I know that I made Princess Catherine cry, but really it made me cry. I mean, I made her life miserable and she cried nonstop, but then I was crying too. So she kind of made me cry, even though I made her cry. I made her cry, but then really she made me cry afterwards, which means that she made me cry. And that's my world. And do you know something? That's my truth. Just like I got married in a special yard party with the Archbishop of Canterbury 3 days before the wedding, and that's true too. What about this? She worked at 13 in a yogurt shop to pay for gas and auditions. I beg your pardon? California law, labor law, forbids under 15s from working. And her father was an Emmy Award-winning lighting director. He was a man of considerable means back in the day who paid for private schools, international travel, and everything that she wanted. Dance classes, acting classes, which didn't work, asked for a refund. The humble beginnings narrative is a lie, as also confirmed by Thomas Markle Jr., who now cohabits with Thomas Markle Sr. in the Philippines. They're in the Philippines, in a high-rise overlooking a 7-lane highway. I can't get a wink of sleep. It's terrible. It's so noisy here in the Philippines. And all I do for memories of Meghan is watch reruns of Suits, and I realize I want a refund for those acting classes. And everything that Meghan said is a lie. In fact, her character in Suits is more truthful than the woman herself. What about this? What about Meghan's standing ovation at the UN? She claimed that the crowd repeatedly stood up, rose to their feet after her 2019 speech. An actual video of the event demonstrates polite people, probably bored to death with her nonsense, seated applause, zero standing ovation. And now we are seeing fresh misinformation coming from the Sussexes, fresh lies. Well, the Sussex PR machine has suddenly gone very quiet. So normally they are 24/7. It's around the clock with the propaganda from Montecito, California. Montecito, it's around the clock. And Meghan lives on her smartphone. She's addicted to Instagram, where she paps her own kids. And yet, even though we get a non-stop flow of warm verbal diarrhea from the Sussexes, suddenly, all of a sudden, we have nothing. We have deafening silence. Why? Well, because they've been found out. So they've gone very quiet about the no photo protocol. And it's because they know the optics of this are awful and they haven't got a leg to stand on. The damage is done. And what's brilliant is to see Harry and Meghan dealt with by the Kardashians, who don't mess around. They understand business. They understand social media. They understand the entertainment industry. Those women are business people. They're entrepreneurs with actually successful companies, unlike Meghan's As Ever, which contains a couple of jars of honey, some vinegary wine, and flour sprinkles. I love my flour sprinkles. Even though Mark Dolan thinks that they're toxic, hallucinogenic, and you're not supposed to eat flowers. I don't know whether at some point Harry has tried to smoke those flowers, but we have it on good authority from the book Spare that Harry spent many years absolutely baked on the ganja. So who knows whether Harry's tried to...
Meghan, my love, do you mind if I try smoking some of the flower sprinkles? Because I need to forget my miserable life and the terrible mistakes I've made, having allowed you to turn me against my country, my family, and the monarchy. So if you don't mind, I might just smoke myself into oblivion with the flower sprinkles.
Great line from the excellent Daily Beast journalist Tom Sykes. What a journalist Tom Sykes is. He knows his onions. Tom Sykes knows his onions, right? Great line from him in his entertaining column, which I highly recommend. Daily Beast, check it out. Daily Beast, check it out. On one level, he said, it was all delightfully trivial. We're talking about the party row and the invitations and the no photo rule. On another, he said, as the week rolled on, it began to look like the purest distillation yet of the Sussex problem. A couple who have made truth their brand, appearing to bend reality over something as petty as party optics. Well, he's being polite when he says bend reality, but that's a little bit like recollections may vary. Recollections may vary. The translation is, you are lying. And we lies, lies, lies on a streetcar named Desire. Oh, lie, lie, lie for your sweet perfume. Could be better like Tennessee Williams if I could only have something that sounds like the truth. The interesting question is why, this is what he says. These are his words, right? Tom Sykes, who I'm a fan of. Tom Sykes writes in the Daily Beast, the interesting question is why the Sussex camp felt compelled to erect such a brittle justification, one that could be knocked down in a single phone call to a Kardashian publicist. Why not just say nothing? Why produce a story that could be disproved? Well, I'll tell you for why. Let me answer that, the brilliant Tom Sykes. Because Meghan doesn't know what she's doing. She's a klutz. She's a fool. She's not very bright. And she's totally out of her depth in this world of showbiz. As I mentioned yesterday, she couldn't be a princess. She really effectively didn't prevail as an actress. She got lucky. She won the lottery with Suits. That's it. Name me another Meghan Markle hit after years and years in the industry. And she's not an entrepreneur, not a podcast host. Everything she touches turns to mud because she's out of her depth. And she's just good at getting something going and making some noise around something for 11 minutes before it just goes like that. What's quite interesting as well, by the way, I wonder why did they not want these photos from in the venue? Because they were very happy to be photographed going into the venue. They could have got a secret entrance like Jay-Z and Beyonce. But no. We go through the public entrance so that we're photographed, so that Meghan has her currency, that she can be famous and show that she's a player, and then demand no photos inside with this confected lie that there was some kind of consent form. One of the reasons why she may not have wanted photos in there is because, first of all, we're hearing that Harry was drunk, and who could blame him? Probably high on the flower sprinkles.
Oh my goodness, those flower sprinkles have gone right in my head, I've got to say. I'm even more spaced out than usual. I mean, I can't lie, Megs. I'm totally baked. I'm totally baked, Megs. I'm so baked. In fact, you know, I'm starving as well. I've got the munchies. You got any Wendy burgers? Can we get a Baconator?
So she goes in there and she's hobnobbing with Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I admire Mark Zuckerberg because he's one of America's greatest entrepreneurs. He founded Facebook, which connects the world. And it started in his college dorm. What a genius. And imagine being that rich, that powerful, and that young. What, is he in his 30s? Has he even turned 40? He's going to be a rich, powerful man for the next 5 or 6 decades. Wow. Normally, gentlemen and ladies have to wait a little bit for their success, but he's had it young, but well-deserved. But Facebook, right, there's a lot of nasty stuff on Facebook. There is some dark stuff on Facebook. And a lot of it is inappropriate. A lot of it, there's misinformation, there's fake news, and there's stuff involving youngsters that's not right, that you don't want youngsters to see. And Meghan and Harry have been fighting this campaign against online information and the dangers of social media, except that her new bestie is a man that platforms all of that. Mark Zuckerberg. Make it make sense. Well, because Meghan is attracted to money and power and fame, and she doesn't care. And don't buy all of that spin about how concerned they are about the safety of young people online. Well, if that was the case, why put Archie and Lily on Instagram every 11 seconds? With the creepy behind the back of their head photos and the weird heart on the face. Stop it. Absolutely obscene, but that's Harry and Meghan. Dishonest and duplicitous. Duplicitente in Italian. Sussexo duplicitente per grifters. Grifteria. They are effing grifteria. Auf die Treppe schnell. So, they wanted the photo, and then they didn't want it, you see. And this is the point. And this comes from Harry, right? I think the lies come from Meghan. I think the cakeism, the desire to have your cake and eat it, comes from Harry, the H-bomb. And this is the problem. So she's out of her depth. She's chaotic. She's scatty. She's probably got ADHD, I would have thought. Because I think she's capable of tremendous concentration at certain points, and then she can't sustain it. So who knows? Meghan's brain is a hot mess. I would say her soul is a hot mess, but you'd have to find it first. You're welcome. Can you feel? So we've got this from Tom Sykes, who continues in his excellent blog on the Daily Beast, which I recommend. Harry and Meghan find themselves chasing relevance at Kardashian parties that they don't want anyone to see them at. That's so good. He goes on, their appeal post-Megxit, when they left the royal family and left the United Kingdom, was supposedly to rest on 2 pillars, authenticity and escape. They would purge their trauma by telling the truth about what it was like inside the House of Windsor. They would then build a freer, more honest and private existence outside of that world. Well, how's that worked out for you? He goes on to say, yet here they are being publicly contradicted on matters of fact by the Kardashians on one flank and the palace on the other. Don't forget, as we covered in yesterday's show, if you haven't seen yesterday's show, it is pretty explosive. And it's the Times newspaper, the newspaper of record in the United Kingdom, who said that Harry and Meghan, what was the story? The story from the Times newspaper was that the idea that the photos deleted was basically, it's just he said, she said lies about the photos and who took them and who deleted them, and that the Kardashians have contradicted. And on this occasion, right, yesterday's story in the Times was that Harry said that he told King Charles he was going to Canada just before Remembrance Weekend. And the palace have said, we're baffled. We had no such warning, no such courtesy from the Duke. So here we are. So many contradictions, so many lies. So Sykes goes on to say, being publicly contradicted on matters of fact by the Kardashians on one flank and the palace on the other, yesterday's Times story, is embarrassing. They look less like liberated truth tellers than people who, finding themselves trapped in a hyper-managed hall of mirrors, have resorted to fiddling with the angles. Isn't that fantastic? Another creepy thing, by the way, about that party. Meghan may not have wanted people to see photographs of her arm in arm with Mark Zuckerberg, given that he platforms the kind of stuff online that she thinks is bad. But not just that, Jeff Bezos. Now, he's a billionaire, one of the world's richest men, married very happily to Lauren Sanchez, right? Lauren Sanchez, broadcaster, journalist, an accomplished woman, half of whose body is in a skip outside a plastic surgery clinic in Los Angeles. The woman he married is not the same Lauren Sanchez that was born into this world in 1903, let me tell you. But I will say she looks terrific and she's a woman of substance and he's very happy. Jeff's very happy. But Meghan Markle is all over Jeff Bezos like a rash. And the reason why is because, of course, he owns Amazon Studios. He set up Amazon. He owns Amazon Studios, one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. He's got unlimited resources. And Meghan has been all over Jeff Bezos like a rash. Hi, Jeff. It's Meghan Markle here. Didn't you know I'm not Meghan Markle anymore? I'm Meghan Sussex. And soon I'll be Meghan Bezos. She would love. Let me tell you. We've joked about Rupert Murdoch. I like Meghan Markle. She's got a healthy blood supply. And I think the ventricles in her heart are extremely efficient. And I like the way that the various atria of the heart pop open as blood comes in and out. And I'm very impressed by her cardiovascular efficacy. So we've got Rupert Murdoch, who would be perfect for her when she divorces Harry, because all she wants is a billionaire. But I'll tell you who'd be perfect would be Jeff Bezos. And I can assure you that Meghan Markle, when she divorces Harry, she would make a beeline for Bezos. I really like Jeff. I'm into bald, short men. I don't know why. It's strange, isn't it? But really, really short men in middle age who are super, super bald with a really shiny forehead and are a billionaire. I don't know why, but I'm just attracted to them. And it's mainly the shortness and the baldness that really, really attracts me, and then the billionaire bit is kind of nice too. But no, it's the baldness and the shortness, not the billionaire. Well, that's nice too, though. She would quite happily be a home wrecker and go after Jeff Bezos. And she would look at Lauren Sanchez and think, I am absolutely taking you out. Okay? You are yesterday's news. And I wouldn't put it past her. So here's a question at this party. Did she sow the seeds for an affair with Jeff Bezos? I'm sorry. On the Mark Dolan show, we deal in reality. We deal in the truth. And we're not going to be cancelled. We're not going to be afraid to have this conversation. But was she draped over Jeff Bezos yesterday, this weekend at the party, and doesn't want photographs of it? Because he would be perfect for her post-Harry. She's got the royal titles, she's got the fame, she's got the influence, she's got the social media footprint. She hasn't got a dollar to her name. Meghan is flat broke, so Jeff Bezos will be perfect. And I was talking to someone yesterday who said that Meghan was a yacht girl. Now, I don't know if this is true, and I also don't know what being a yacht girl means, but my understanding of a yacht girl is a young woman, an adult young woman, that hangs out on millionaires' yachts and entertains the host. And I'm talking about more than just bridge and gin rummy. I'm talking more than a game of chess or Monopoly, folks, and a dip in the pool. A dip may be involved, but a swimming pool shall not be. Yacht girl. Let me know in the comments. Is Meghan a yacht girl? I'm learning. See, I'm naive. I was raised a Roman Catholic. I'm a very innocent person. I'm super innocent. And so I don't understand this murky world. But what I will say is that Meghan is certainly not afraid to use her charms to attract someone. She did that to Harry. See, I think she did two things with Harry. I think she love-bombed him with her snaky, swirly, swirly eyes, like the snake in the Jungle Book. And then she love-bombed him. And I think she used her body too with Harry. I think that she love-bombed him, but I also think she lust-bombed him as well. I really do. And good luck to her. Look at her. She married a prince. She's world famous. And her life has gone in the right direction. But I think Jeff Bezos will be next. And of course, he's got the money to fund any movie projects that she wants to do. You see, she's dipping her toe into the world of Hollywood. And by the way, how does Harry feel about that? How does Harry feel about Meghan doing love scenes with handsome actors like Brad Pitt? And how does Harry feel about her going to Jeff Bezos's extraordinary Beverly Hills mansion on her own for meetings with the boss about ideas and to discuss scripts? I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I was Harry. I'm not having that, but Harry's got no authority. He's not a man now. He's a mouse. Beaten into submission by his wife, which is quite shocking. Now, listen, before we go, I've got to tell you about this because this is pretty wild. The Sussex PR machine is very powerful. They've gone very quiet because they know that they've lied about the no photo rule at the Kardashian party. And it's going to hurt the Sussexes, no question about that. I mean, this week, they've had another terrible week, haven't they? They really had a bad week. Don't forget the Poppy and the guest list and the Times newspaper and the Kardashians and Harry drunk, baked on the flower sprinkles.
Oh, I've got to tell you, Meghan, I'm absolutely baked. We're going to have to get a cab home because I'm just, the room's spinning around, man.
But we've got to tell you about a friend of mine who's Duncan Larkham now. He's a leading royal journalist. What a lovely guy. But there comes with a but here. But Duncan is a gentleman, an outstanding journalist, the former royal editor of the Sun newspaper, written a brilliant book about Prince Harry. And a friend of mine, I love Duncan Larkham, must get him on my Talk TV show. But I feel he's been drinking the Sussex Kool-Aid, right? And I say, and you're allowed, aren't you, to speak truth to power and to be honest with your friends. And I think Duncan's got this badly wrong. And I'm nervous that he's been got at by the Sussex PR machine because he said the following. He said that all of the scrutiny around the Sussexes is something that the couple have had to learn to weather together. He said there have been long stretches in their marriage where it genuinely felt like Meghan and Harry versus everyone. I mean, seriously, what are we going to get the violins out now? This is, and Duncan's a great journalist. Why is he peddling this narrative? He says from the very beginning, one of the clearest patterns has been just how fiercely protective Harry is of her. He's an extremely loyal husband, perhaps more loyal than most, because Meghan has taken an enormous amount of public abuse, particularly online. I mean, where is this coming from? I think Duncan Larkham, who I love, I think he's been on the flower sprinkles too. He adds that Harry's willingness to back his wife, whether in court cases or in public statements, has been a defining feature of their union. He said that Harry's spoken out against people that he believes have mistreated Meghan, and in his view, that has included the Princess of Wales. I mean, where is this going? How dare you speak ill of Catherine, who's perfect? Catherine's perfect. He said they've had plenty of heartache. Have they? No, they've made millions by throwing their family under the bus. I don't see the heartache. He said, but their shared background of fractured family relationships and childhood trauma is part of what strengthens their bond. Do me a favor, childhood trauma. So many of you have told me that you've had trauma in your life. Your parents have passed away when you were young, orphaned, all the rest of it, and you didn't suddenly become nasty, horrible, negative, toxic people. Larkham suggests that their move to America was in part a deliberate attempt to avoid their children Archie and Lily growing up in an environment shaped by the same emotional landmines that they face. Well, except that they've moved to Hollywood, which is an enormous goldfish bowl, and the kids are permanently on social media thanks to Meghan. Make it make sense. I mean, Duncan, seriously. He goes on, neither of them had anything close to a textbook childhood. Oh, here we go, the violins. Neither of them had a textbook childhood. He said both sets of parents divorced. Okay. And of course, Harry lost his mother soon afterwards. Here we go again, that old chestnut. He said there's a lot of pain on both sides and it's brought them closer. Harry has openly described himself as damaged, and Meghan, who understands that pain, naturally falls into the role of supporter and protector too. Well, I don't think she's supported and protected him. I think she's destroyed his life. He argues that in some respects, Meghan has had the tougher road. He said her father, half-sister and half-brother have all gone public with attacks on her. Harry hasn't faced anything like that, but only because the royals refuse to comment or defend themselves, which effectively keeps the bitterness behind closed doors. The tension is no less real. It is just less vocal. Duncan. He's basically handed in his journalistic license, and I love Duncan. I'm going to get him on the show. We're going to have this out. We're going to debate this. How can you say that Meghan's been attacked by her father and half-sister? She has dumped them. And Thomas Markle lives in a high-rise in the Philippines. There is one bit that's true from Duncan. He said, it's been 8 years since the pair announced their engagement. At that time, Harry was firmly embedded in royal life, surrounded by close friends and carrying out full-time duties in London. Today, the landscape is radically different. The Sussexes live in a gated enclave in Montecito. Their schedule's driven by Netflix deals, Meghan's lifestyle ventures, and various philanthropic projects. According to Larkham, Harry has cut himself off from the tight group of friends he once relied on. And of course, that is what I've heard too from the royal butler, no less, Grant Harold, who said that Harry has ditched his friends. Well, let me tell you, the Sussexes have been ditched now by the Times newspaper, by King Charles, by William and Catherine, and by the Kardashians. It's over. It's game over. It's over. It's over. Folks, it's been great to talk. Cannot wait to see you for tomorrow's show, which may be in an exciting rural location. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you tomorrow. Oh, I just can't wait to be king.